Well, Chibnall, you stuck the landing, and now you finally have my attention. Okay. In the past, I have been critical about Chibnall as a writer, but there was one thing I did say about him. Based on his first season of Torchwood, I said that his handling of it was not particularly great as a showrunner, but I did also observe that in his sophomore season, he did finally find his stride, and the show wound up becoming better as a result. It seems that the pattern is repeating itself for this season of Doctor Who, and I don't want to be presumptuous. This may have just been a fluke of inspiration on his part, but it seems like he's finally gaining some confidence in the way he's handling the story and the way he's going to take the show. Part 2 of Spyfall really does up the stakes, and it does actually wrap up a lot of really great questions that we did have. What are these entities doing to the people? Why are their victims' DNA being erased? What exactly is the Master's play in all this? What is Barton's play in all this? What is his stake in everything that's going on? And when those questions get answered, I was freaking chilled. And the way they go about the end game that they have in mind, I was like, wow, we're already paranoid enough about technology nowadays. I mean, the whole thing with the Cybermen in season 2 was enough to make me swear off Bluetooths. But man, now you're trying to make us afraid of cell phone usage. And after watching this episode, I got this sincere feeling that Chibnall really kind of studied what Moffat had attempted with a lot of his stories, and even to an extent what Russell T Davies had, the idea of Doctor Who taking ordinary things and making them sinister. Very much in the way like Stephen Moffat did with stone statues, with the dust in the air, and with shadows. But he wants to really take advantage of making the ordinary things all around us scary. And when you figure out what their end game is and what they intend to do to Earth, I was like, great. The one thing that pretty much drives our society, they're now making us afraid of. I'm trying to keep as vague as possible on this one. I mean, just know if I let a spoiler out, I am absolutely sorry. Of course, the cliffhanger of the last episode left us on two big questions. What is the story with this iteration of the Master? And two, how are Graham, Yaz, and Ryan going to get out of a pretty damn precarious situation? And it was one that I was like, thanking God that we didn't have to wait that long to get a resolution on, because I admit, I was going, the cockpit of the plane is busted. Whatever's going to happen is going to be some kind of crazy Doctor Who in magnitude miracle. And again, this is what I mean by Chibnall seeming to take a note out of the Stephen Moffat school of Doctor Who plotting, because the resolution was like something that you would definitely picture Stephen Moffat doing. Of course, the classic wibbly wobbly timey wimey resolution, and the solution was definitely something like that. But again, it's that level of Doctor Who bonkers. As far as their efficacy towards contributing towards the resolution of the story, that's still, I may have to watch the episode again to really get an idea about that. But even then, their journey throughout the episode still left them in a place which I really am excited to see as far as how they are going to feel towards the Doctor. And I gotta say, it did lead towards a conversation which they never really had in the last season, and I was very happy to see them have now. And it assures me that they are not going to settle into any kind of pattern for the rest of the season. It actually seems like they want to move all these characters forward, and also their dynamic, because even though they are shooting for a family dynamic with this TARDIS team, this is still a different team compared to, say, the Ponds, or even Ian, Barbara, and Susan in the dead beginning. This is its own group, and it seems like they're going to lead it towards a different route. And this is what I mean when I say Chibnall stuck the landing, and I was always worried that he was never going to engage me on an emotional level. I knew I was going to have fun, because I always have fun with Doctor Who, but I was actually legitimately worried about whether or not I will be emotionally invested again. But I gotta say, I was clinging to my seat with excitement, because I didn't know where the story was going, and I didn't know how it was going to resolve. Now addressing the other side of the matter, of course, the big one, the Master. I did address my concern as to whether or not this was the next regeneration on from Missy, or if this was just another Master from a different time period. And now that I think about it, and since I've had a couple days to mull that over, I'm actually really glad they have not thoroughly addressed that fact yet. And I don't know if I ever actually want them to. The great thing about a show about time travel is that you can run into a different variant of a different version of either the Doctor or the Master or any other Time Lord at any point in time. And you can have your cake and eat it too. You can still have the great evil Master that you love to hate and hate to love, and still have the version of the Master that you invested in their development. So for all we know, yes, Missy is the last the last of the Masters, and is now lying dead, but is redeemed. And this might be a version of the Master, even before Delgado, still set in the knowledge that it could be one of those things. If this is continuing on from where we left the Master at the end of season 10, you know what? I can actually buy what they do with the character based on where they left her from there. And of course, the big question, how does Sacha Dhawan work as the Master now that the veil has been lifted and now that we're seeing him go full crazy? I looked at him, I did not see John Sim anymore, and I definitely did not see Missy. This is a Master that is profoundly, profoundly damaged, and not a damaged in the sense of, you know, absolutely bonkers, batshit crazy like Missy was. He has seen something so horrific and so traumatizing that it has completely destroyed what semblance of good he could ever have possibly accumulated. That's what I'm saying, is that if this truly is the Master that comes after Missy, he must have seen something that has affected him so profoundly that he has thrown what little semblance of goodness that could have been cultivated in him back when the Doctor was trying to redeem him, or her at the time, and has led him down this path that, now that I think about it, and this is a big thing, because the Master is the kind of character that has attempted universal entropy for the sake of conquest, but has led the Master down a path so dark that he has pretty much gone a path that I don't know if there's ever any coming back from. And again, still too early to tell, but I really want to see where they take this version of the Master down. And Sacha Dhawan's performance is so good and so threatening. I mean, this is a level of threatening that I don't think the Master has really ever been. In many ways, it's kind of what they may have attempted with Eric Roberts' Master, but I think they've taken it a much grander route and a much more complex route. I was already excited that it was Sacha Dhawan playing the Master, but the potential that they're already laying down with his take on the character, and the fact they've given it to an actor of such range and gravitas, it just excites me and it thrills me. And the fact that I'm so charged by a season that's being run by a writer who I didn't really hold in any kind of regards, it's giving me so much hope for the future of Doctor Who, and I hope that all of you feel the same way. I'm still bound by my anti-spoiler resolution, so the one thing I'm definitely going to leave you as far as the rest of the story goes, the only con I can say is my doubt of whether or not Ryan, Yaz, and Graham really affected the story of things, save for just delivering plot. But even then, what they still had in the story was so good that I really can't wait to see what they do next. And while I was having fun with the Doctor in the first part of this story, man, did Jodie Whittaker get some juicy material to play with in the second part. It's so much that I'm expecting her Doctor to be tested to her peak level. I don't know, you don't know, they're the only ones that know. Drives me crazy that they're the only ones that know because I want to know, but fortunately, thanks to the passage of time, we will know. So, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that this was not in any way a solid follow-up to a really good first part? Or do you think that this is a very uplifting sign of everything that is to come? Leave it all in the comments below. Simply like, share, subscribe, click, thou shalt be served.